Hello, welcome back. We're in round 12 of the Offenbach Regional Championships, and I'm Lydia Humbach. Here's Connor, and we've got something really crazy for you guys.
So a few people have already been talking about it in chat. There's kind of been rumours going around, but as he's kind of known to do, Sander has turned up this week with something a bit weird. He's playing what appears to be Steelix Wailord Mill. He came up with shot clock last season. Sander doesn't like playing the game like anyone else plays this game. He's like, I could take prize cards, but that seems easy.
That's matter. No, I can't play that.
Yeah, it's just like prize cards and attacking is overrated as far as he's concerned. He's like, you can't play the game. Versus Kim Pobega, who is playing the ever-present Buzzwole Shrine.
We've seen a lot of shrine. Actually, not too many shrine decks, but on stream, a lot of shrine decks all over the world. And, well, actually, when we were sitting down, looking at the playlists, at the deck lists,
these cards do.
We were asking ourselves, what does Steelix even do?
I think as far as Sander is concerned, it has a lot of HP.
Probably.
That's all it needs.
Wailord
almost certainly has a lot of HP. And looking at his list, he's got lots of ways of healing in here, I think.
Yeah,
got full max potion.
He plays one Articuno GX, by the way.
What does that one even do?
I don't know.
So basically, guys, we'll find out as we go along exactly what's going to happen. But we're going to have a really interesting game. Sander does this because he understands where the format is as a thing. He's one of those players who really understands, okay, these are the energy counts we have to deal with. I can deal with it and exploit these in these ways. And we're looking at the Buzz Shrine list from Kim. He's playing basically only special energy. So
yes.
Also, his list is in Italian, so it's going to take.
He's playing two basic energies.
So that's two fighting. And then everything else is special energy. So Sander's list is going to be able to get going. So there we see the Wailord on the left hand side, so that we can see exactly what we're up against.
The Wailord has 200 HP for a non-GX Pokemon. That's pretty huge.
Yeah.
We can completely forget about the energy, the attacks. We will never see them. Sander is only playing 2 energies, 1 rainbow energy, 1 counter energy. So
we're going to be in a situation to kind of have to look through and kind of. This is when we're going to be calling this on the fly. Yeah. I think. Probably as much as Kim is reacting to this on the fly.
But Kim, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody knows what kind of strange things.
When you get drawn against Sander, you do tend to go, what am I going to have to do now? But looking through the list, and you can actually see it in the prize cards, Kim's kind of gone for a slightly different approach to the Buzz Shrine list that we've seen, because he's also including a copy of the Duskmane Necrozma, the promo card, which you can see in the prize cards, and he's going to be in the situation where that 60 spread can actually really help early game against a lot of decks. Not so much against Sander, because there's only the 1 GX card in here, but it's going to be a really interesting game.
There we actually see the Steelix.
There's 190. So
it's also a lot. For non-GX.
Yeah, and with 4 copies of Max Potion.
Acerola. 3 Acerolas are in there as well.
An awful lot of. There's 2 Metal Frying Pan. So this is going to be one of those games where there's a bodybuilding dumbbells. Oh my word. This is going to be one of those games where we're going to see some interesting cards.
Crazy.
And also, we're looking through Sander's list. You can see 1 prize, but he is playing a grand total of 4 copies of Steven's Resolve.
And he's playing Cladion.
So in the same way that decks in Expanded can use Tropical Beach to refresh their hand if they're playing a very slow tempo-based deck, Sander's basically gone, well, the standard version of this is now Steven's Resolve. I search for 4 and just end my turn. I'm not attacking. Yeah. I did all my stuff before the attack anyway. And I want to say Articuno GX attack is something like discard all energy on the board.
I think Articuno is probably the only Pokemon we're going to see actually attack.
For Sander, almost certainly. It's a very interesting card, quite new. Discard all energy from both active Pokemon.
Wow, that's hard. I mean, he's playing a 3 Enhanced Hammer. He's playing 2 Crushing Hammer. So, in case Kim manages to somehow hold onto his basic energies,
he's
there
also
comes
playing
Articuno.
a 2-1 split of his Wailord line. So this is 120 HP on a basic Pokemon for the Wailmer.
Wow.
But he's also going to be able to make use of the Shrine of Punishment. And I guess he's something he used a lot yesterday because he's also playing a single copy of the Tapu Lele. The one with a magical swap. So basically he will just buy time, wait for the Shrine of Memories damage to all stack up, and then just move it around for a few KOs to take some prize cards. So Sander has done it again, where he's sat down and really thought through a very weird but novel list, which has clearly worked because he's 8-1-2. So Kim kind of going, oh, what's happening now? So just for those behind the scenes, if you want a glimpse behind the scenes, currently we're all looking at the state of the board and looking at some of the cards in play going, what on earth is happening? So the first Steven Resolve is being played. So Sander is now fully aware of what he can and cannot play this game. But he's also able to kind of start basically have a magical ribbon, which is like the reason why the Sylveon lists last year were so able to control games and use mill, because every turn you get enough cards to keep going. And there are things in here like Lucamine, so he can effectively loop forever with Denial. And now we see an Onyx hit the board. So apparently we had the wrong Wailord earlier on. There's a Wailord with more HP.
It does. This Wailord even... It's interesting because I think it's the only attack I have ever seen that deals 200 minus
I want to say there's an Electrode from one of the older sets that does the same thing. But 220 HP on a stage 1 non-GX is... Well, that's more than a Zoroark.
Yes.
And this is only worth 1 prize card.
I mean, it's only dealing 200 damage. And there's the Onyx.
But he has a very nice full art Lucamine. So there's an Onyx and there's a Steelix in play.
And I mean, look at Kim's face. He's like,
well, this
what
is always
on earth is
this
going
has always
on
happened.
here?
This is also what happens though when you sit down opposite a mill deck. Like his resting his hand, his face on his hands because he's like, oh, well, I guess I don't get to play this game very much. I'm just gonna have to wait until I draw incredibly, or sit here. I think he's genuinely just passing.
Yeah. Oh, wow, yeah, he really just drew past. No, he didn't. Oh, no, this is the team's
no, he's been draw passing for a long time. Basically, here looking to get to a really big hand, so he can Cynthia himself down at like late game. So he's going to get to like a 40-card hand.
Yeah,
Empty deck in Cynthia
is
his game plan.
He's waiting until he has the perfect combo on his hand to play everything down he needs, because he knows that Sander is not going to deal any damage.
So we're also working on the guy on the computer particularly hard this round because there's a lot of novel cards we need to put up because Gladion is in this game. So Sander gets to take a look at all of his prize cards and then put them down again and take 1 card out. And you would have seen that he's taken... I'm trying to work out what he's taken. I can't remember what was in there.
Me neither. But there's a Gladion in his prize cards now.
So he just keeps searching and going.
Oh my god.
Because the turns for Kim are genuinely... He's not even looking at the card most of the time. He's just draw passing. That was whilst you're taking your 4, I'm going to draw for turn. I'm going to declare pass. And that's it, because I think his game plan is I can stall this out. I can at least force the draw. I don't think he understands he can never really win, but he can basically make it go a very long time because he plays quite a few shuffle support himself. He has access to 4 Cynthia. I don't think he's playing a copy of Judge.
Yeah, he's also not playing Pole Pet.
So
once they're gone,
so what he's going to do is he's just going to do the thing
playing
of...
Marshadow though?
No, he's not.
Oh. Too bad. Oh wait, no, he's not playing anything. That's another 2 Skullgrunt.
And all we're going to see here is Kim just basically keep going, draw pass, get to a 40-yard card hand, then declare that he's going to So he has to read the Steelix because Steelix can do damage.
Steelix is going to attack?
So, this is the thing. He's like, so Sanders can see that Kim's game plan here is to not play anything.
Yeah.
So the way that he can do this is like, okay, I can start putting very slow pressure on. You actually have to play cards, or I'm just going to bench you instead.
And ladies and gentlemen, it's round 12 of Offenbach Regional Championships, and we just saw Steelix attacking with tackle.
For a whole 30 damage. With a metal frying pan, a counter energy, and a rainbow energy attached. This is one of those...
What a time to be alive.
We see another Guzma of like, just give me the Wailord at least, pass. Lusamine, take back the Lusamine and the Guzma, and he's just going to keep doing it. He can just keep doing this forever because he has the Lusamine loop. Gives basically these kind of slow stall decks infinite resources. Over the course of 2 turns, they can recover a supporter, use the supporter, and then keep recovering.
Which you see Team Skullgrunt again.
Sanders like, no, seriously, I believe you. I've seen your hand. At some point, Kim's hand is going to be bigger than the remaining deck for him. And
we see the Guzma.
And we're going to see another tackle. It's going to be a 5-hit knockout.
I wonder how many prize cards this Steelix is going to take.
Well, because it appears Kim is reluctant to bench or play any cards, because what he wants to do is hold them so that when he Cynthias them back in later, his deck goes to as big as it physically can.
Yeah.
He only draws 6 of his 40-card hand back.
Oh, we see a Buzzwole with an energy on the bench.
We may see an attack from Kim eventually.
I mean,
this
those
turn, I think...
energies are now attached to Steelix. So, is there any way of him getting back the energies and attach them to Articuno?
Well, so what we'll see here instead is that he just Plumerias, kicks the fighting energy off, and then and then eventually takes the KO on the first Buzzwole. So Sander takes the early prize lead in this game, which has been done purely through the medium of tackle. This is
oh my god,
really not what you expect to see.
Not at all.
But it's interesting that Sander realised that Kim's strategy is to just not play anything, so he can just start attacking, kind of chipping away slowly.
I mean, that's great.
We hope guys in chat are enjoying the kind of chaos that this game is. You know, you guys, we saw a few people requesting this deck be put on stream, and here it is in all of its bizarre glory, with cards that really don't see play at all.
Oh my god. I really hope he's going to make it into Top Cut. That would be so deserved. I mean...
Well, so his previous round matchup, by the way, was against Sylveon.
Yeah. He played against Sylveon, and we actually wanted to,
he hits for weakness.
Have him on stream. Yeah. Oh my god. Tackle
so
dealing 60 damage.
I'm really curious to see how that matchup ever played out.
Actually...
Maybe they drew, I don't know. Maybe they just said, let's just ID because this is never going to end. That would be sensible. So if you're ever going to play Copycat, now would probably be a time you'd consider it. Except for the fact that you might deck yourself out at this stage.
I mean, also something interesting, Sander might be at a point where he saw almost every deck list.
Well, this is something that happens at this point of the tournament. The deck list
No, I mean
public.
because he's just watching
yeah.
all his opponent's hands.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, he knows exactly what everyone's playing, but it's also, at this point of the tournament, there are really no secret decks left.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what everyone else is playing through having walked around the tables, or like opponents are like, oh, I played so-and-so, they were playing this. And so Sanders must he's definitely got game plans against everything.
Yeah, I mean, with those rough decks, you test a lot against different decks. And I can't imagine anybody testing against Wailord Steelix.
So now there's a Tate and Liza, so you can switch. So now he can start putting damage onto the Trubbish, so he's now pressuring both Pokemon Kim has in play. And I've just said that chat wants to know if we can think how Wailord goes against Ray. And
I mean, this Articuno might be a big surprise.
Well, so it really depends how many Recycler they're playing as well, because a lot of them are playing maybe 3 or 4 Like they were, like 3 or 4 would be like on extreme, and if they're playing 3 or 4, no, I don't think it can.
I can't imagine that in game 1, Articuno might be the winning factor, because
just every time he puts his hand down is amazing. But it's also he gets into situations where I think in that matchup you can just Guzma stick the Vikavolt active, and they have to discard a lot of their own energies because they'll run out of Guzma before you. We do now finally see a Garbodor, and there's probably a handful of items in Sander's discard, but not that many. Because he's just doing all these soft supporters.
Has psychic weakness.
It does indeed.
Resistance, I'm sorry.
So the psychic resistance means that he can get away with playing a handful.
And the metal frying pan is attached to Steelix as well. So it gets minus 50 damage from Garbodor.
So that's basically negating 2.5 items, right? From the thing. We see another Tantalizer, so we can just keep switching around and hitting tackles, so that he can keep slowly chipping away. Well, he might well be considering waiting and buying a few turns so we can go into his Lele and a magical swap if he had some energy left, but he doesn't because they were all already attached. Is he playing
something spicy like multi-switch? No, he isn't.
Is he playing anything spicy? Yes. Look at the list. But there's nothing crazy like multi-switches in here. This is one of the matchups so again, these kinds of decks, these kind of mill decks where you can control games and kind of tempo and like control the pace entirely, you have to build knowing what you expect to face. And unfortunately for Kim, he's picked a deck. It's a fantastic deck, but it's a known fantastic deck. Yeah. Which means that when Sander sat down and had whatever brain waves he had to go through to come up with this list, he would have been thinking about this. He would have been thinking about Ray. He would have been thinking about a few other decks. So to be fair, so against Ray, actually, they need 7 energy on board. Bearing in mind that with the speed that Sander can knock energies off the board, that's quite difficult to KO the Steelix. Assuming it doesn't have metal frying pan. In which case you need 8 on board, and he's playing Crushing Hammers. He's also playing the Lele, so he can the Lele can knock out one of them.
Can we maybe see what type of Lele is doing exactly?
It's 20 for each, I believe, or something along those lines. Something that I would have liked to see if he was going to do that was playing a copy of Enderporter, so he can stack all the energy onto a single ray. So that's the sideways. It's 20 times for each energy on your opponent's active. Obviously, it also hits for weakness on Ray. So that's actually an option of your opponent's likely to want to get to put multiple energy, so more than the 3 energy, onto the Rayquaza, so that if you do knock 1 or 2 off, they can still get the attack in. So there are now 2 Garbodor in play, but this Steelix is still doing work.
Oh my god. This is attacking Steelix. I still can't believe it.
Aggro Steelix was not one of my top picks for this tournament. I'm going to be honest, it wasn't one of my bottom picks. It wasn't any of them, but here we see it, kind of just running through. But it appears that Sander's gone, I'm not taking the knockout on this Garbodor. You can't attack. So I'm going to wait for you to basically have to synth your entire hand back into your deck, and then he might start doing it, because he wants to do it in a way that he wants to have Kim as few cards possible to play. Yeah. He doesn't want to take the knockout so that he can then do things like... Okay, so apparently Sander's playing a copy of Looker.
He does not want to get into Sledgehammer range. Yeah,
so he wants to avoid giving any actual decent attacks for Kim for cheap energy. So that's a copy of Looker, not How. Probably a holdover from his days of playing Shocklock, where you'd be using the Orangaroo to put things back onto the bottom of your deck. So that's drawing 3 cards from the bottom of your deck, not from the top. He's playing this over How for reasons that I'm sure only he will understand. Probably style points. Of how it's not very often you get to do things from the bottom of the deck. And he's not playing any way of putting cards back on. Oh no, he's playing the Resource Management Orangaroo, so he can put cards on the bottom, so he can combo with the Looker.
So that's actually a pretty nice combo.
So
especially because you have Luzamin in hand probably always.
Well, so this was actually the basic principle of the Shot Clock deck, was you resource management some cards onto the bottom of your deck. It never really worked with Look-a-Lock never really worked because you needed too many cards every turn. You needed to evolve a Raichu, evolve a different Pikachu. Your opponent to be paralyzed. Guzma exists, so it wasn't the easiest to play. But it does mean that if he wants to be able to kind of guarantee next turn he draws into a couple of E-Hammer or something like that, he can guarantee it that way.
I think what Sander might want to do at that point is he realized Kim is not going to play any shuffle draw cards, so he might just wait until he can guarantee that there's no energy left.
He's organized his hand. Oh. He's put them into groups of what they are. He's had some time. He's sorting through.
Right?
He's sorted his hand through, going, yep, so here's the evolution lines, and here's all my Ultra Ball.
I don't really want to bother you with counting.
He's like, nope, there are no more energy in this hand. So I'm just going to keep draw passing, and I'm just going to play every other turn a Skullgrunt, because eventually you're going to draw into an energy, and as soon as those go, I've won. It doesn't matter.
And as soon as the energies go, there are no energies left in his deck.
Yep.
And he can start attacking without...
So it's like,
oh
yeah,
God.
sure, whatever.
I mean, can't they...
No, that was like, were you attacking? Yeah. He was like, no. So I think there's like one card left for Sander for Kim in deck at this point. So he's now going to basically be at the stage where he wants to play the Cynthia himself so he can put them all back. And at some point, Sander's going to have to go into playing the Oranguru, so he's going to run Kim.
That's the last card.
Yep. And now we'll see a Cynthia.
I hope so.
And what we're going to see is that at some point, because Sander hasn't revealed he plays the Oranguru, but he has no energy to attach to it to start resource managementing.
Yeah.
So he unfortunately won't be able to keep looping forever to keep his deck full, which means that realistically he's played more cards.
But I think at this point, Sander is trying to go for 6 prizes.
Well, once he's got rid of all the energy, sure. So he has to believe that he has all the energy gone, and then he can start chipping away. We just see the Wailord come back into the active with the bodybuilding dumbbells, giving it a grand total of 260 HP, which is more than any of Stage 2 GX has.
Oh my God. We see Tate and Liza, Steelix in the active position, and a tackle.
And he's just going to start taking prize cards and just going, oh, we'll win the other way then, I guess. Like, I don't like taking prize cards, but if you're going to make me do it, I suppose I have to. Wow. I'm pretty sure Sander believes he's got rid of all the energy now.
Yeah, so...
He doesn't know that the Beast Energy and the Rainbow Energy are prized.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that he's kind of... that's probably why he wanted to make sure he went through the whole deck, Skull Grunting every turn. Because that basically means that he now is pretty sure he knows what options are available.
I think he might have been waiting for the Beast Energy.
Yeah, because that was the thing he's afraid of, because... the thing is, at this point, he takes a knockout if he, the Beast Energy goes active, it's not taking a knockout on the Steelix anyway, because it has so much HP. Even hitting for 150, it's not enough. 170 is still not enough because of the Metal Frying Pan. So it's in a situation where he actually just knocks it out, the Beast Energy goes. But he then does lose his energy.
Oh my God.
No.
Goodness.
Oh, actually, because of the Acerola and the Rainbow Energy, Sander can bench the Oranguru, Acerola, the Steelix.
And we see a knockout.
And another prize card has been taken.
Oh my God. Sander being in the prize lead with his Steelix Wailord deck against Buzz Shrine.
So he can never deck out either, Sander, because he can Acerola up the damaged Steelix because of the 10, put the Rainbow onto the Oranguru, and then resource management.
True.
So that's the way he recycles his energy, because he has his Acerolas. So Kim going for maybe I can deck him out strategy of he's got to run out of cards, he's drawing a card every turn and he's not shuffling them in. This was just putting anything I can find back into my deck now, isn't it? Territory for Kim.
So just a short reminder, because speaking things out might make them feel more real. This Buzzwole Shrine deck is trying to deck out Wailord Steelix Mill.
Yes. In 2018, this is the state of the format. Kim there being able to play the Rescue Stretcher and the Nest Ball to play, so he can promote an undamaged Buzzwole into the active position. The ideal situation for him. Sander here just going, I'll just Cynthia. I don't need all this hand. I'm just attacking now.
Yeah, and Sander's actually down to 2 prizes or 3.
Yeah, he's very close to taking game 1.
Goodness.
Weirdly, not the longest game 1 we've had.
No.
You know, we're actually making really good pace through this game.
I'm really sad we did not feature Steelix versus Sylvian.
I'm not entirely sure I'd have survived that game. I think I don't think I'd have fallen asleep. I can't imagine it was the most engaging gameplay, though. Who knows?
I can imagine that those 2 players were actually like, oh, this is a matchup.
Well,
I
actually,
have to do something different.
Since the actives aren't going to change, the guys on the computer can check what the standing was for those guys last round and check what it is in this round to see what the result was, of if there was a winner or if they just tied.
Yeah.
Because I suspect it was a tie. So in the previous round,
Sander was 8-1-1.
Yes.
Yeah, they tied.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I'd be surprised if they even played it out, to be honest. Of like, do you sure have an hour break? Let's not sit here going, I mill you, but you mill me.
It might be like, you're a mill deck, I'm a mill deck. We always play into timeout. Let's just eat
It's like,
something.
no, it's probably something along the lines of, you're a mill deck, I'm a mill deck. That means we're friends here. Let's go for this. Like, let's just try and take on the rest of the field. And
Sander, by the way, is down to 1 prize.
Yeah, so he's very close to being able to seal this. He's in a position where he wants to try and just keep chipping away on this Buzzwole. Steven's Resolve manages to grab 4 cards from deck, ends his turn. He's not in any rush to take these 4 prizes because he knows that Kim really can't do an awful lot against him.
No.
There were no energy left.
Oh my god.
He's not playing any field
He might be
blower.
going for Guzma and some switching option.
Yeah, he's got to find a way of stalling. He's got to promote the Garbodor. I like that because he knows that that's the thing that he's looking to hit. But Tate Eliza comes in.
Game, stealing, attacking with Tacker.
Kim was just like, Kim was like, I'm going to circle this and like, yeah, you win both games. Let's not play game 2. We really have to have Sander on for a winner's interview, right? Because that's amazing.
It's wow.
Well, you can see that my favourite thing is that he played this game against this obscure mill deck where he was never really in a position, like a good position. Wow. But he was at the end of that game, he sat there with a smile on his face going, what on earth have I just played? This is the greatest thing that's ever happened. So we're going to hopefully go for a very short break and we'll have Sander on for an interview.
But I'm really glad that Kim took it on just for the stream game to just let this one game
and see what
he
could do. And,
oh my god!
Because he had the right idea. He didn't know the fact that the Steelix was just going to start attacking.
I mean, who would expect that to happen?
But, so it has an attacking option, so that you do try and stall. And we'll get into this with Sander because I'm guessing this is why Steelix is his other option because it can do some damage. And what an interesting game. So we'll be very back like really quickly with an interview with Sander to see what on earth he was thinking when he came up with this list.
Oh my god.
Welcome back, everyone, to what I'm guessing is probably one of the most anticipated winners interviews that we're going to get in this tournament. Sander, what on earth were you thinking?
I just wanted to use some tackle and take some prizes.
Oh, so this is the thing. So you're known for making some kind of odd decks, which are all about kind of stalling games out anyway, right?
Yeah.
Like energy denial. Like, so
Yeah,
Shocklock was
for
yours,
sure.
and like a few other little bits and pieces, right?
Yeah, and I played Wailord, the old Wailord.
Yeah, and you played Durant and Heatmore Right Shoe last year, right? So you're known for coming up with these kinds of decks. So this is clearly the style of play you enjoy.
Yeah.
So how did you approach? Knowing that's the kind of thing you want to play, how did you approach this format and like making this list?
At first when Celestial Storm was released, I thought like, well, Shrine is like, I think Shrine is like one of the best cards in the, like, I think Zorak is clearly the best card in the game. I think Shrine is actually the second best card.
Oh wow, okay, cool.
So a lot of people went straight for like the Bush Shrine decks that I play against. But since I like to play like these very slow, very grindy games anyway, I was like, I really want like a partner that can abuse Shrine even more than the burst deck. Because you didn't really see it in this game, obviously. Because he didn't play any GXs, but this deck actually uses, like I play 2 Shrines.
Yeah, we saw.
And it uses it really well as well, because I also have the Lucamine, and I can go very, very long with the Acerolas and everything.
Yeah, well, because it was the thing, I guess you could stall the game like basically indefinitely. And Shrine eventually takes KOs.
Yeah. So a lot of matchups become like it puts a lot of pressure on my opponent to really like overextend and keep searching and do everything, and as long as I can like react to what he is doing.
Well, because we were saying that there's the copy of the Tapu Lele.
The Tapu Lele is for the Shrine.
Yeah, so like Shrine builds up over time and you just go, nope.
And because I played against Zorro and I just put the damage with the Shrine, and then with Lele I can KO the Diancie Prism, so it's way harder for them to kill the Hoopa. And against I
didn't even see the Hoopa. Oh my god.
And against like Malamar sometimes they bench like 1 Lele, and it's very hard for them to take prizes, and you can use the one, even if they bench 1 GX, you can take the damage of the 1 GX with your 1 Lele.
And just put it back onto a Malamar.
And put it on the Malamar until you can just take 1. I won 1 game by Magical Swap for 6 prizes against Fika Ray. But the thing about this deck, like you have a lot of good matchups, but Fika Ray is like very, very hard.
So this was actually one of the questions we had from chat during the game. So how do you approach that matchup? It must be tough.
I think it's like the worst matchup. And when I came into the tournament, I was like, I want to play this deck anyway. But like realistically speaking, I wasn't expecting to do too well, because I was like, well, Fika Ray is probably like close to an outloss. But I played 1 Fika Ray in the tournament, round 2, and I won against it.
Oh, okay. So is there a game plan, or do you just have to kind of hope a little bit?
Yeah, well, what happened is I started Hoopa, and I searched the second Hoopa, and he played Delmise, so he started attaching to Delmise, but also to his Vikavolt. And then I went, but the thing is Delmise and Vikavolt are really poor against Steelix, because the Delmise only does 100, and then it can't attack, and I can just Acerola or Max Potion, and as long as he has like a few GXs on his bench, the Shrine just keeps ticking and ticking.
Yeah, so it's kind of like you just have to force them into the Delmise.
Yeah, you force them into the one. You force them into the attacker that's good against the Hoopa, and then you go into the Steelix, and if they go Ray, then you go back into the Hoopa. But it's still pretty hard. You can use like the Lele to take 1 shots on Rayquaza, and eventually I used the Articuno to like take out like 4. He has 4 energies on the Delmise, and you can use the GX, but that matchup is like really, really hard, and like, I have to be honest, it helps that like people don't know what they're playing against.
Well, so
it's
the surprise.
I should be fair, like
that
definitely helps.
Well, because so this is one of the other questions we've had is like, so this is always the issue with a lot of so the decks that you bring, like you will do super well with them, and then people work out how to play around them for the next tournament.
That's like a major factor was also that like all the solo decks they get the Oranguru.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I played 2 cups with this deck, and in my League Cup decks I was playing 1 Baby Buzzwole and 1 Beast Energy, and I played the Heatmore instead of my own Oranguru, and I played Lysander Prism, so you can try to like Lost Zone the Oranguru or the Stretch, so the Zoroark decks can't use the Oranguru to go infinite. But I was looking like all the Philadelphia lists and all the lists, and everybody was cutting Guru. So I cut all of that, and then I added the Wailord.
Yeah, so as soon as if people decide to put the Gurus back in, which with like Zoro Control also seems to play yesterday, it becomes way harder.
I think in Zoropod it's pretty like...
it
fits the deck very well.
Exactly.
Like the Lycan Rock game plan is to win pretty quickly and put a lot of pressure, but the Zoropod wants to be a bit more like controlling anyway, so I think Zoropods will play like the Guru.
Yeah, and that's not a matchup that you really want to sit down opposite.
Yeah, but even for this tournament, I think a lot of Zoropods cut the Guru.
Yeah,
like,
I think they did.
This deck's like pretty, like maybe...
It's a really good meta call, right?
It's a really
you have
good
to
meta
nail
call.
it. Yeah. So, the other questions is, you do have the one loss. So what was that against?
Oh, I played against the Bush Ryan, which, as you can see, is a really good matchup. But I started my Oranguru, and he judged me turn 1.
Oh.
And then I drew a lot of basics. So I kept just putting basics down, and I only drew like dead cards. So I was like, but I knew like if I get one Steelix in play, I can still win the game even if he has 1 prize left. So I just kept playing. I was like, maybe I will top deck something. And then like in 15 minutes, I lost eventually. And then the second game, I was like this game like pretty dominantly winning. But I didn't have enough time to.
That's a shame.
So I just lost.
Yeah, that's a shame.
So I should have scooped the first game.
Yeah, okay.
But,
so other questions is. Obviously, the opponent's reactions when you flip over some of your cards and play them down.
But
do you have any particularly good ones you've had so far this tournament?
Well,
I mean, that was a pretty interesting one at the end of game 1. This is the kind of now I have no way of beating that.
Well, most people try to play game 2 because they can just I can stop that draw. I play 23 supporters, so it's pretty unlikely. I even added like Acrobike for a little bit more card selection and drawing out of Judge, but I can.
Yeah. So there's no particularly standout reactions or anyone.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, I'm pretty used to people being.
Yeah.
Like whenever I flip over like Beamer Pikachu, people are like, "What is this?" And whenever I flip over like, I played a little of Hydreigon as well in cups. So I get like I'm so used to people like reading my cards.
Well, we've seen quite a lot of that, to be honest, this entire weekend with some weird inclusions. And next people going.
What's it? Well, the format is pretty like
open.
I heard a lot of people are like not liking it as much.
Yeah.
But I also think like because the cards are so underpowered, there are a lot of like weird things you can do.
Yeah, there's a lot of options that you wouldn't normally be able to get away with.
Because like, why would you play a bad card? But now, the alternatives aren't even that good. So.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's things like Great Ball, right? Like it's not a card that people want to play, but
exactly.
Like people will play it because there's no better one.
Why not?
Yeah, sure. So thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah,
so we're also doing a little giveaways for packs in the thing. So would you like to crack open a pack for us? Okay. And you can like, tell us what was in there. We get to keep the cards. We're not giving you a free pack. You deserve it, but we're not giving you a free pack. And we'll raffle off the code. So it's an Ultra Prism pack.
Hope I get a Lele.
Lele. Yeah, the Fairy Lele
is a lot of fun. And
the Guru.
And the Guru. And the Fairy Lele is like slightly better because it has Dark Resist. So there's new Psychic.
Oh yeah, sure.
So it has like
it can tank a Zoroark.
It can tank a Zoroark
if
they don't play the stadium.
Well, so the guys in the chat, like, this is the kind of level of detail that can go into some of these lists of going, well, this one has a Dark Resist, so it survives a Zoroark occasionally. Assuming no Devoured Fields and stuff like that.
No Devoured Field, no Kukui or anything like that.
So, you can just go through and tell us what you get. If you get anything good, let us know.
And if I don't?
This
card's... I tried playing this card.
So that was the Hippopotamus, the last chance, last resort Hippopotamus. Was the card that he's saying that he's tried playing. So how did that work for you?
Well, you have like the new Sable Eye that you can discard the top card of the deck, and it does.
It's like 200.
It does 180. Like with the ends, you're hitting 200. You're one-shotting everything. You just need to go through your deck very quickly. The thing is, you can play the Shining Celebi and the Evolution, so it's a bit more tankier.
Oh, sure. Okay.
But it wasn't very good. Steelix was better.
Fair enough. So thank you very much again for joining us. I'll do a raffle over the break in the chat. And best of luck for keyword. The keyword will be it was an Ultra Prism, so it will be ULP. But I'll tell you when to put that in, guys. So we will be back soon-ish with the next round, and we'll see you all very soon.
Okay.